Shush. Morning. Morning. Let us know you've arrived. Hiya, Scott. Good to see you, pal. These weeks fly by. Does that mean I'm getting old if I think that? It just seems as if before we know it, it's back to Monday again. Morning, Mary. I'm guessing Joy and Lee's with you as well. Hiya, Joan. Hi, everyone. Morning, Matt. Hiya, Charles. Frida. Morning, Rosie. Well, I'm just saying it's another Monday morning, beginning of the week. I like Mondays. I like it because it's who knows what can happen this week. You're right on the brink of something new happening maybe, and but it is a quite miserable day today. Bernie sounds miserable. He wants me to get something from underneath the sofa, I think. But hey, just because it's raining and because we're locked down doesn't mean that, doesn't mean that life's not good, because we have life. Life's been given to us, abundant life to the maximum. It's not dependent on situations. It's an internal thing, internal joy. All right, it looks like everyone's here now anyway. We're going to crack on. So this week we're going to look at, it's actually a devotional that we're tweaking and taking from one that's on the YouVersion app called Salt and Light. So yeah, what we're going to talk about, we're following the breakdown from that. And I just thought it was really applicable to us to do about Salt and Light, because we're coming into this series that we started yesterday called Saving Seats, and the purpose of that whole series is to really help us to focus in on, like, who are we saving a seat for? I would love it to be the case when we're back that everyone comes to church every week and they see an empty seat and they look at it and they think, you know what, I'm saving that seat for so and so, for Bob or whoever it might be, for Francesca or whoever it might be. That we're so intentional and we're thinking to ourselves all the time, okay, that seat's for that person, that seat's for that person, that seat's for that person. Because we believe that salvation is for everyone, and we believe that we have a part to play in bringing people to Jesus and introducing him. So that's the whole point of that series. But being salt and light is so important if we're going to be people that are taking the gospel out to the world. So I'm going to read a couple of verses and then we're going to get into this. So the first one is Matthew 5 verse 13 to 16. It's the one that is like the characteristic one about being salt and light. It says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the earth loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?" Leah's going to talk a bit about that tomorrow. So it is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. But you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Okay, and then we're also going to look at Psalm 96 verse 3. It says, declare his glory among the nation, his marvelous deeds among the people. I was just took a bit of time to look into salt. I didn't realize this, but I knew that our body needed salt, right? But our body needs just a little bit of salt, and what it needs it for is actually to it helps the connections of the nerves to be able to actually tell the muscles to contract or to relax, even right down to the heart, actually. That if we had no salt in our body, that our heart wouldn't be able to pump, which is kind of scary actually when you think about it. But the body only needs literally the smallest bit of salt for it to be able to do that, and for us to be able to live. And you know what? That's the whole point of this morning's devotion. That we are. It's meant to be essential for life, for bringing life to people. Without salt in our body, we literally wouldn't be alive. It's essential. Without light, we would be fumbling around in the darkness and unable to actually do anything, or possibly even unable to look after ourselves. Salt and light are vital for life. This morning, I came into to the sitting room, and the twins have been on Minecraft. They're like massive Minecraft addicts. They absolutely love it. And Minecraft's a game where you can build. You get different blocks, and you can build things, and they spend ages building big mansions, whatever. And they can run around it, and they have little villages and all sorts of stuff. And there's two different types of modes on it. You can have creative mode, which basically means you can fly around and build whatever you want. There's no consequences. But then there's survival mode, and survival mode you can't fly around, and survival mode at night time, like creatures come out and they can kill you, and it's scary. Not really scary, but so I came into the sitting room, and they'd had Minecraft on, and they must not realised it, but they had it on survival mode. And then they'd gone off to have the breakfast, and they were going to come back and finish the game off. And while I was sitting thinking about this, one of these creatures came up and killed one of them on the screen. And it said, gave the options: do you want to respawn, which means like come back to life again and carry on, or do you want to save and close? And I got to thinking actually in that moment, like, we don't actually have that option, do we? We don't have the option to respawn. I suppose you could say we get born again when we become a Christian. But I'm talking about life. One day we're going to die. Every single person that you know, one day will die. That's just a fact of life. And they don't get that second chance. They don't get that respawn to come back to life again and to carry on like nothing happened. They've got one go at this. And that's why it's so important that we take salt and light into our worlds, because the people around us don't have that respawn. They don't get a second chance. The other day, Leah cooked over a couple of days. She cooked a couple of different meals. And Leah is like, she absolutely loves mustard. And she's listening to me in the background laughing. She absolutely loves mustard. I do not. And so she made this meal, and it had a considerable amount of mustard in, honey mustard. And actually, it was all right. Actually, I did enjoy it, to be fair. But I was eating it, and she was looking at me, waiting for the reaction. And I said, "Love, you've put like a load of mustard in this." She said, "Oh, it wasn't that much." I said, "There's a load of mustard in it." But anyway, I enjoyed it. The next day, we had another meal, and I went and sat down and started eating, and I could taste mustard, and I smiled to myself. And she smiled at. I says, "You put mustard in again?" She went, "I can't believe it. I can't believe you can tell. I put a tiniest bit of mustard in this meal. I can't believe you can tell." I said, "Look, I just must be sensitive to it. Because you have that much of it, then obviously it doesn't bother. Maybe your body's become less used to it." I said, "But for me, just the tiniest bit is noticeable." And That's what I think I want to really portray to us today, is that the tiniest bit of salt, the tiniest bit of light is noticeable and makes such a massive difference. And you might think that you're insignificant. You might think that what you bring isn't much, but we only need a tiny bit of salt to for our hearts to keep pumping, to bring that life to us. And I only need a tiny bit of mustard for me to notice in the meal. The tiniest bit can make a massive difference. In fact, the Bible says, doesn't it, that one of the smallest seeds is a mustard seed, and we just need a mustard seeds worth of faith. Wow, I didn't think of that when I was preparing, but there we go. That's a big link in from the mustard illustration. And this is actually not part of the devotion, but I was just thinking about what it says in James, James 2, verse 14, where it says, "What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save him? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to him, 'Go, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed,' but does nothing about his physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say, 'You have faith, but I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do.' You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. You foolish man, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless?" And he goes on to talk about that. And you see that his faith is Abraham, and his actions were working together, and his faith was made complete by what he did. So the basis of that scripture is simply this: that works is not what we do to earn salvation, but it is how we evidence our faith. And so when we go out there to be salt and light, you have to go out there to put your faith into action. And so I want to encourage you, it just takes a little bit of salt, go out there, put your faith into action, help people, be that salt and life to people, help people, put your faith into put your deeds into action, that matches up with your faith, but equally so, bring that light, where we are bringing the gospel. And like I said yesterday in my preach, let's be people that really bring the gospel, that we're, confident enough to share our faith, that we realise what God's done for us, and we say, I've got to share this with people, and say, Jesus, you need Jesus. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget that tomorrow is the prayer meeting at 7. No, it's not. It's Bible school at 7:30. Just find, it's the usual login, but just if you don't have that, just go on our Facebook or our website to find the login details. And also on Thursday is the next Testimony Thursday, so don't miss that, 7:30 at night. Otherwise, it's devotions all day, all week, every day, Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. and then church again on Sunday. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Don't let the weather get you down. Just go for it. Be salt and light. Bye.